Well, it's been a long time since I've done a video. So I thought that I would come on and catch everybody up and introduce you to the latest edition. She's very sleepy right now. I'm gonna go ahead and take you through updates of my last trimester of pregnancy and then tell you how the birth went. And then I will tell you the sweet little one's name. And at the very end, I thought it might be helpful to tell you what I'm doing now because, you know, we've got 11 children now, very busy household, and a mother who is trying really hard to get back to it. So we'll see how long this one can stay out here with me before I need to lay her down. But so I wanted to talk a little bit about my last trimester of pregnancy. So in the past, with all of my pregnancies, really, I've had very straightforward, normal, low risk, low everything pregnancies. I've never really had any problems. And so when I got to be about maybe 34 weeks, maybe 34, 35, my blood pressure actually started going up, which I have never had high blood pressure before. My blood pressure has always been picture perfect, spot on, even during pregnancy. And so I was shocked. I'd never experienced it before. And so they had me monitoring my blood pressure a few times a day and recording that, and gave me instructions to where if my blood pressure spiked over certain numbers, I was to go straight to the ER, and you know, all of this stuff that's a little bit scary. And so you know, I cut way back on what I was doing because I was still doing a lot of work. It's a lot of work running a household of 12 people, so I was still doing a lot of work. And so I cut way back, stayed on the couch as much as I could, you know, just started resting basically, which I don't really know how to do that, but tried. And I was hoping that, you know, those changes would show my blood pressure come down in the next week. So when I went back to my next appointment, I was shocked to learn that it was actually higher. And so, you know, we started talking at that point about induction, and I was 36 weeks pregnant at that point. They really wanted me to make it to 37 weeks, which is apparently officially full term, just because, you know, the baby would be healthier if we could wait that long. And so, but if, you know, the numbers went any higher, then I was to report directly to labor and delivery. So with that plan, you know, they had me come back a few days later to monitor everything again. And when I went back, they tested my urine, and it showed that I had protein in my urine, which I had not had before. And so at that point, you know, I was getting, this was 2 days before that 37-week mark, so it was a Wednesday. We got the results on Thursday, and I was getting really jumpy, getting worried about, you know, I didn't want to be in reactive mode and wait for there to be more of an emergency, because the plan was to induce me at 38 weeks anyway. So I wanted to be more proactive. I didn't want to wait for an emergency. And so I talked to the midwife, and we decided to go ahead and induce me on the Friday that I turned 37 weeks. And so that was April 19th. So that's what happened. My husband and I reported to labor and delivery 6 a.m. on that Friday morning, and went ahead and started the induction process. We started it off with Pitocin this time instead of breaking my water. In the past, we've always started it breaking my water. And so it went okay. As far as, you know, the labor and everything. I think I ended up being in labor for, well, you know, it takes like 2 hours for them to do all of the stuff first before they can actually start the induction. So that would have put it at about 8 o'clock. And I ended up, so labor started at 8. I had her, I should have written this down. I had her at 7:19. So that would put it at 11 hours. So that's really not bad, especially with an induction. So it was really funny though, because I had her on on 4/19, on April 19th. And the nurse pointed out that the exact time that I had her was 19:19:19. So, 19 hours is 7 p.m. So 19:19:19, which was kind of funny. But, so she was born 3 weeks early, and had great APGARs. Everything went really, really well with the birth. But then I started losing too much blood, which has also never happened before. And so they had to, do lots of things to get that under control. And thankfully they did, without needing any surgery or anything like that. And we found out the next day that because my iron levels were so high going into birth, that was the only reason why I didn't need a blood transfusion, because the amount of blood that I lost normally would necessitate that. But because I had fantastic iron levels going into birth, I was able to avoid that. So that was wonderful. I was very pleased with that because I didn't really want a blood transfusion. So she was born, she was 6 pounds, 4 ounces, 19.5 inches. She's our smallest by a full pound. And I realized that she was actually 3 full pounds smaller than our firstborn, who was 9 pounds, 4 ounces. So she was itty bitty. And her name is Mary Eleanor Tilly Bell Buffa. We're calling her Mary Eleanor. Tilly was my husband's grandmother, beloved grandmother, who passed away earlier, or I guess late 2023. And she was just the most wonderful woman. She was just light and happiness and cheerfulness and just all of the good things. So we wanted to honor her by having one of Mary Eleanor's names be hers. So, but we're calling her Mary Eleanor, and she is just the sweetest little baby. We've had so much fun with her. Everybody loves holding her, and she's so sweet. She's not fussy, and she's just a precious, precious baby. So, she, we did the whole, hospital stay. We stayed for 2 nights and went home and took her into the doctor's office, and she had lost a little bit more weight. And so the doctor wanted us to come back after 2 days and see where she was. And so we did that, supplementing with some formula because it didn't seem as though I was making quite enough milk. So I kept nursing her, and then we would follow it with a bottle. And then, so we went back in 2 days, and her weight had gone up some. So we're like, okay, good, we're out of the woods. But we kept supplementing with some formula. And so then the next week we went in, and her weight had only gone up, I think 3 ounces. And it should have been closer to like 7 to 10 ounces. And so we were back in like, oh my gosh mode. So, I started pushing her a little bit more to take more of that formula after a nursing session, and, really focusing on making sure she was taking in plenty. And we went back after another week, and she had gained plenty. I think it was a little bit, it was like a full pound. So we were back to where we needed to be. And ever since then, she's been doing great with her eating. I'm nursing her, and she's following that up with a bottle. I ended up getting some goat's milk formula from a Dutch company. It's called Cabrita. I'll put it down below. But it's a gentle formula because it seemed like regular formula was upsetting her stomach a little bit, and I didn't want to put her on Nutriam again. It's just I didn't really like the ingredients list, but so we just decided to try the goat's milk formula, and that agrees with her well, and she's gaining weight well. So so that's what we're using. So that's all going very well. I keep saying well. As far as adjustments with the family, little George just adores her and loves getting to hold her. He hasn't had any problems whatsoever. He's thrilled. Everybody's really thrilled. It's so nice to have a little baby girl in the house. It's been 14 years since we've had a baby girl in the house. So it's been a lot of fun, and she's just so sweet. And So we found out that some of the kids are really great at getting her to sleep. Some of the kids are really good at waking her up because she's still a little sleepy. And so sometimes she doesn't want to wake up to eat. And so I have a few kids that are really good at, getting her awake. And then I have certain kids that are really good at calming her down if she's fussy. So, I have to almost beg sometimes to get to hold the baby. It's a good thing I'm nursing because otherwise it would be a lot more tough. So let's see here. So I've had to, yes, what do you need?
Can I ride on my bike?
Yes, you may ride on your bike. I have had to really pace myself this time around. Normally I spend, it's getting kind of warm out here. Normally I spend a week up in our room resting away from the family so that I'm not just like down in the middle of it where it's really crazy. This week it was more like, or this time around it was more like a week and a half because of all the blood loss. Like I was extra tired, and I think because of my age too, because I am a geriatric mom. I'm 42 years old. So, I spent a little bit of extra time up there, and then when I decided to come down and just be down here full time, I still spent a lot of time just resting because I really needed it. But so it was a very slow journey back to full-time momming. But thankfully my husband, his company gives a very generous paternity leave, and so he was able to just continue filling in for me as long as I needed. And so that has been a huge blessing to have him able to do that. I was able to, for the first time ever, I did an afternoon nap every afternoon so that I could get some sleep, to make up for what I didn't get in the night. And that made a huge difference. It was fantastic. I'm to the point now where I take a nap maybe every 2 or 3 days. If I'm starting to feel like I need it, I'll go ahead and take one. But that has been a huge blessing and a privilege. Like, I'm so thankful to have that. This Sunday, so she's 6 weeks old right now. And this past Sunday was the first time Mary Eleanor and I went back to church. The whole family had been going the whole time, but that was logistically challenging for me. I was so nervous about it and just stressed out the morning of trying to figure out logistics for feeding her and all of the things. And when I got in the van, I told Ryan, I said, I'm so stressed out over this. I don't understand why. I've had a million kids. This should be easy. I don't understand why I'm feeling so stressed about this. And he said, well, it's been 8 years since you've taken a newborn to church and had to figure out the logistics. So, and I realized he was right, because George was born during COVID. And prior to that, can you say hello?
Hi.
Prior to that, George's next oldest brother is 4 years older than him. So it had been 8 years. And so that made me feel a little bit better that, that it had been a while. And so I didn't feel so silly then. But everything went fine at church, nothing to worry about there. It went fine. So let's say, so now I'm pretty much into the full swing of things. I've been doing grocery shopping with help from my daughters. They'll push the cart for me, but I've done that for 2 weeks now. And I'm cooking most nights now, and back to laundry. I'm a little bit behind on laundry right now. I need to get caught up from the weekend, but so all of those things, and we're trying to get back into a good chore routine with everybody. The house has stayed pretty clean. I'm pleased with how put together everything still is, but we need to get back into our good daily routines, just to put the finishing touches on everything, I guess. I have been doing I've picked back up some online work that I do, and thankfully I have a very flexible schedule. I just fit in what I can when I can. So that has been good, using my brain for a little bit. When I have brain cells available, which is not always, I've been putting those back to use, which has been good. So yeah, the cooking has been, I've basically been doing the same 5 or 6 meals each week, which they're family favorites. So, the kids don't mind eating it. They love eating these meals. So the really easy stuff like pasta and meat sauce and egg roll in a bowl, they Do you like that one? George started rubbing his tummy. So we're actually having that tonight. The Mexican skillet, everybody loves that. And we do grilled chicken thighs, boneless thighs once a week, and then hamburgers on Saturday. So, you know, really simple stuff that everybody enjoys. And so I haven't really gotten back into heavy duty cooking yet. I haven't been making bread lately, except for the brioche buns for the burgers. I have been making brioche probably twice a week, but I haven't been doing sourdough bread. So, you know, I'm easing back into that as she gets a little bit older, and it takes less time to feed her, because right now it's taking a lot of time to feed her, at least an hour, sometimes like an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. So once she gets a little bit older and it doesn't take her quite so much time, I'll get some of my day back and be able to do a little bit more in-depth cooking. And the last part that we need to reintroduce into the schedule is hospitality. We love having people over for dinner on the weekends or during the week, and have not done that yet. We might potentially have some people over next week. We are part of the Presbyterian Church in America, which is the PCA, and our General Assembly is next week, and it's actually here in Richmond. So everyone from all over the country is coming here, and so there's some people that we are going to extend an invitation to. So we'll see. We might have people over next week. We might not, but it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to have to keep it simple, because I'm just not ready for like heavy duty cooking quite yet. But we will get there. We will get there eventually.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So that is my update. I am really hoping that I can start doing at least one video a week again. But I know that you understand if it's longer than that in between videos. But let me know if you have any questions about anything, about, you know, how logistically we're handling things, and I'm happy to answer those in the comments. And now I'm gonna go lay this little lady down for her nap. She's been snoozing a little bit already, but it's time. So thanks for being here. Bye.